Hello and welcome to another interesting and educative edition of the PICMAC Conversation, the show where we bring you happenings in the world of media, arts and communication. Here we get to meet trailblazers, visionaries and unsung heroes whose work shapes the stories that we see, hear and feel on a daily basis. My name is Cyril Isi. Of course, I'm your host on the show, and this is TPC. We are reaching you live from our studio here at PICMAC Radio, located in the HN city of Ibadan, Oyo State Capital. You can actually follow us on our social media platform on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at PICMAC Official. Visit us online at www.picmac.com.ng to get more information about our programs and activities at Pinnacle College of Media, Arts and Communication. To join the conversation, please feel free to do so. The number to send a message to or a WhatsApp message is 081 0180 9463. Okay, on today's episode of the program, we'll be having a conversation with Omoba Ademuyiwa Oyebanji, a screen author, a filmmaker, a cinematographer, and an actor. Omoba Ademuyiwa Oyebanji is a seasoned creative professional whose career spans the vibrant worlds of media, theater, and television. He's a multi-talented screen author, filmmaker, cinematographer, and author. He has established himself as a dynamic force in Nigeria's entertainment industry, combining creative artistry with technical expertise to produce compelling stories and captivating visual. He currently serves as the chairman of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Oyo State Chapter, where he provides visionary leadership and strategic direction to one of the country's most influential professional associations in the creative arts. His role has positioned him as a voice for actors and filmmakers in Oyo State, as well as a strong advocate for professional development and industry growth. Please join me and welcome our guest on the show, Omoba Ademuyiwa Oyebanji.
Thank you very much
thanks for coming on the show
for that rousing introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. You've heard from me. That's our guest for the show today. Can you tell us something about you that is not highlighted in the profile we just read now, or something our viewers we like to hear?
Oh, well, you said it all. In your introduction, you've done justice to who I am and what I have done, the achievements so far. Being a practitioner to the core, marrying the town and the gown together. That's what I do. I'm a practitioner of the art, not just, being on field, but I also take it to the classroom. That's what I do.
You said marrying the
town and gown.
Town and the gown. Yes. Maybe you were explain. I like that.
Well,
I like that one.
Well, over the years, I've been a practitioner, and at the same time, I have been a lecturer. Not just a lecturer. I've been a lecturer with one of Nigeria's leading film institutes. Also, after that, I've been a lecturer. I've been a head of the Department of Performing and Media Arts in one of the private polytechnic in Lagos State.
Okay. Before we start talking about the professional aspects, let's first of all dive into your early childhood. Where you grew up for, and
all right.
A little bit about yourself.
Well, the thing I'm conscious of about my growth, when it comes to how it all began. My education day started with a nursery school, somewhere around Felele in Ibadan. A brain nursery and primary school many years ago in Ibadan. And from there, journeyed down to Lagos, where I finished up my primary education. Same Lagos I did my secondary school. Then from there, I proceeded to the University of Oyo, Akwa Ibom State, where I studied theater arts, both at diploma level and at degree level. Thereafter, I journeyed to Plateau State Jos to be precise, where I did a certificate program in cinematography and documentary filmmaking. And under the auspices of now Professor Igino Sekwazi, he was the consulting director then.
Okay.
So seeing the future then, that the future is not just going to be based on stage alone, the future is screen. And the thing about this whole thing is having a grip of the technicalities of transferring drama to the screen. So that was what led me to take all those steps, and so far so good. It has been history.
Okay, at what point in your early childhood did you get to realize that I must have to pursue a career in theater or in the media? Did you at any time dreamt of becoming maybe a doctor, a lawyer, or those other profession? Or you from childhood you just know that I'm cut out to be a filmmaker or an actor, and you decided to pursue theater?
Well, it didn't just happen to me. My father identified that in me way back, because then at the time of Festac 1977, my father used to tell me when I was not conscious of my being, that I used to disturb the entire neighborhood singing the song Festac 77, and stuff like that. Then he started watching me. From there, in my church, I used to write plays, dramas for the drama unit, to perform at certain time. Then I also discovered that when I was in secondary school, my friends often wait for me to do this cartoon. I used to do my own cartoon. I draw.
Oh, you draw?
Yes, I draw. I
graphics.
I do dialogue. I give my characters, dialogue and stuff like that. And when I'm done with it, you see all my classmates struggling to read my stuff. So I never knew I was actually getting into something. Not until at a time, I wanted to be like my father. He happened to be a marketing manager for the aviation industry he was working for, and all my head was into aviation, and I want to work in the aviation industry.
You want to be a pilot?
Yeah, I was never even thinking of getting into, So he called me one day and he said, "Go study drama." And I took offense with him.
Why?
You want me to go and waste 4 years in one university,
studying drama,
jumping up and down one platform, all in the name of studying drama? I was like, no. I needed to go do courses in management and stuff like that. And lo and behold, he didn't argue with me. I got admission Federal Polytechnic Bida. But that year we were in Kaduna, so from Kaduna to Bida, not that far. But the unexpected happened to me, and I had to, retract my footstep back to what he said. Bida had a standard then. I don't know if that standard is still in place. If you fail one course, you fail all. So I had issue with one particular course. I'm not going to mention that course here. I had issues with one course, and I just had to talk to myself that, are you not going to, revert to what your father identified in you? So, and that's how I had to put on my thinking cap and did the needful by settling to study theater. And it was like the course itself was waiting for me. The year I got into the theater program.
Is this the same school you decided to stop the one you were doing?
Yeah, I left Federal Polytechnic Bida.
Okay. You now went to another.
Yes, I journeyed back to Port Harcourt. We tried University of Port Harcourt, it didn't work. So from there, one thing led to another. My father now, got a contact of a professor who happened to be his friend. And lo and behold, we found ourselves in the University of Oyo.
Okay.
And that year, admission had closed. The only available admission was for diploma, 2 years diploma. And I was like, I'll go and sit down and study diploma, 2 years, 2 years diploma. But lo and behold, I was talked to. Somebody called me and said, pick up that diploma. And at the listen to that voice. Did the 2 years diploma, and I dusted the results. I was top of my peers. In fact, the day the head of the department is late now, Dr. Ini Akpan Ebon, he started it all, molded me. It was the best of his period then, of his era. So he worked on me, and from all the results gathered so far, when I started then, it was like I've been wasting my time over the years. So the theater was it for me. And for anybody who desire a successful profession in the areas of drama, anything that has to do with creativity, stage, you must know drama. You must know the nitty-gritty of drama. That's just it.
Okay. What about those that have this how will I put it?
Natural talent.
Natural talent.
Okay.
You understand? And when you see them doing these things, performing, or they don't actually, they didn't get any kind of tutelage. Nobody trained them, but they are just good in it.
Okay. You are good at, maybe whenever you have issues with your ball in the house, whenever it has issues, you go buy another bulb to fix it, isn't it? You don't need an electrician to come do that for you. But if it goes beyond that, bulb issue, you don't have any inkling about how to tackle one wire or the other because you were not trained for it.
Okay.
Do you understand? Fine, you can have the natural, just like I told you, my father identified something in
that's a talent in you.
Latent talent. He identified it. It was raw, but it needed to be refined.
Okay.
Do you understand? So I don't leave it at having natural talent. You must go, for the training.
Get the right education.
And that refines you, and that makes you better than being raw. That's just it.
All right. There are people that get into some career or study some courses. You understand? Then as they journey through life, they begin to regret why they studied those courses. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe you made a mistake studying theater arts or getting into the arts, even though you have a natural inclination to it?
No regrets. So far, so good.
All right. So for those young guys now that have the talent for acting or film, or they are good graphics artists like you mentioned earlier now, what kind of advice would you give to them?
My advice to anybody who desires a profound career in filmmaking, so to say, because I always have issues with that word film, but we'll come to that, we'll talk about that. In drama, so to say, needed to go learn it. Not just going to anyhow school. There are a lot of mushrooms institutes around, who will tell you that they do this, they teach acting and all those whatnots, and once you get there, you discover that what they do is nothing to write home about. I've met a whole lot of them. I could remember there was a year like that. Someone came to the school where I was the head of the department to, vie for a job. A university graduate. I'm not going to mention the university's name. Graduated from one of the renowned university, private, so to say, owned by a church. Now, I wasn't there. The registrar was actually engaged her, a female, and of this department, she's vying to become a lecturer and is around. Why don't you call the head of the department to come, ask her some few questions too? So I was called upon, and immediately I entered. I only requested to see her CV. And immediately I collected her CV. I went straight to her major, because as a theater graduate, we always have specifics. Major.
So you have specialization.
Good. I saw acting. So I now faced her. Excuse me? Please, can you tell me, let's discuss one of the principles of acting as propounded by Stanislavski. And she was lost. And That's someone who wants to teach acting in a school. Like I always tell some directors in the industry, you don't just come behind the camera and say action and say cut. It goes beyond that. What is the etymology behind the arts you are engaged in? Why are you calling a particular shot? Application of shots, when to use it, when not to use it. That's why you wonder. Some producers and directors kept saying, we needed to. Our films have not been selected for Oscars. Yeah, our films can't be selected for Oscar. For Oscar yet, because there is a whole lot of malapropism in our composition. There is this. That's why I like this particular course, and there are some very, very sensitive courses that I took to myself. I handle those courses myself to teach my students. Example is pictorial composition.
Is that the same thing with photography?
It has something to do with photography,
okay,
but it's quite different.
Okay.
Of course, when you say photography, like when we even talk about cinematography or whatever, the genealogy of it begins with photography. It emanated from photography. Before we now start talking about motion and stuff like that.
I want to quickly take a look on screenwriting. Screenwriting is the foundation of every film, TV dramas, or stage play you watch. It is the process of writing scripts that describes the story, the characters, their dialogue, and even the actions they take. You think of it as the blueprint of a building. Without without screenwriting, nothing else can stand. A good screenwriting is not just about telling a story, but about showing it in a way that can be acted and directed. Screenwriters focus on structure, conflict, and pacing to keep the audience engaged from beginning to the end. In simple terms, screenwriting is where imagination meets storytelling, and storytelling meets performance. You are a screen author, Mr. Omoba Ademuyiwa. To a layman, what is screenwriting? Because when I saw that screen author, I was like, I know what it means to be an author, but that screen author was not. I know about screenwriting, but that screen author is a new term I just got. Maybe you have to tell us what it entails before we start asking questions relating to screen authoring or screenwriting, as the case may be.
Well, by the special grace of God, I should be done with the book I'm writing on that. Screen authoring, screen author is my coinage.
Okay, it's your own coinage.
It's my coinage.
Beautiful. All right.
And the thing is that don't call me a filmmaker.
Yes, you are saying that.
Don't call me a filmmaker. Why? Because I am not the maker of film. Film is a material. Is a material. So when you say film, the cellular film strip is what is being referred to. I don't make it. And as we speak, we are not even in the age. Most directors have shifted from cellular film production to video film production. So a shoemaker makes shoe. Even the ones that goes about on the street, it's wrong for us to call them shoemaker. They don't make shoes.
They repair.
They repair. They're supposed to be referred to as shoe repairer.
Yes.
So the shoemaker is that factory where shoe is being manufactured. Mm-hmm. A cloth maker is someone who makes clothes.
Yeah.
So why would you now refer to me as
a filmmaker?
A filmmaker. That's wrong.
Okay.
Very wrong.
Okay.
So now, what does a screen author, what does he do? He interprets the script written by a writer.
Okay.
Using,
not necessarily the one that wrote it.
Yeah, not necessarily. Now he interprets, and why is a screen author is because he does his best to ensure that the viewer understands what they watch or what they see. That makes him a screen author. I stand to be corrected on this.
Okay. It's kind of very, very new.
So yes, it's new. Like I know that a lot of a lot of my guys who taught me in the university, who knows quite okay that Omoba is strong when it comes to teaching, teaching with purpose. Then I would teach you what you need to know, and I'll tell you that take it to the bank. I stand to be correct. I have taught a student who went to India, the India film industry, and he thrived. He came back to say, "Sir, thank you for training me, or what you taught me. You know, I dusted my peers when I was in India." He became one of the first black students to be taken to the India film village, because according to him, there was this kind of discrimination against blacks and stuff like that. But with the kind of faith he brought on the table, he was accepted.
Okay, I want to get something clear. There's a script writing, there's a script authoring, according to you.
Screen authoring.
Script authoring.
Screen authoring.
Screen authoring.
Yes.
Okay, that is quite different from script writing.
That's quite different from script writing.
Screenwriting too. There's script writing, there's screenwriting.
There is screenplay.
Okay.
There's nothing like screenwriting. You can say scripting is mostly referred to as scripting.
Okay.
Though professionally, there are 5 stages in writing a script.
Okay.
5 stages, but these stages have not been properly looked at. You know, they've been churned away. You know, the very first step you take in writing a script, like when you were doing the introduction about screenwriting, there cannot be anything like screenwriting without a story.
Okay.
That's where it starts from. And when you have this story, before you now settle down to write, to screenplay, or to do your master scene script, which is the professional language for it, master scene script, you know, you must carry out what is called research. You know, like, you know, I do fault some stuff I see in our films that I kind of like, man, for every visual diarrhea you see on the screen, you blame the director for it. You blame
visual diarrhea.
Yeah, I call it visual diarrhea you see on the screen. You blame the screen author, that particular screen author. You blame him. You blame that person for it. Why? Carry out your research before you churn whatever you have created out. How can you, you know, put before me, mostly in Nigerian films, in our films, I'll say that a policeman will go arrest a woman. Even the Z word that our women are fond of, the Indian film television, you know, you see a policewoman arresting a woman, and that's the way it is.
Okay, so a policeman cannot arrest a woman
at all.
Instead, a policewoman should be the one to.
I stand to be corrected here, even the first, you know.
Okay, that's new knowledge.
So now, for us in this profession, what comes first is research.
You need to get your facts right.
Get your facts right, and is a course that you go through even when you're in the university. In theater, there's what we call research methodology. Carry out your research first, before any other thing.
Okay.
But people just believe that you can just do anything anyhow and you just churn it out. For someone like me, I'm detailed. When I'm watching a film, I watch my film alone. I don't want distraction. I can watch one film like 4 times.
Hey, because you want to criticize it.
Yeah,
what is your motive?
I want to learn. I want to advance more, you know. And in critiquing any work of art, one has to be very, very, you know, one has to be very, very plain, not just destroying something that has been. It's not easy to create.
Yes, and what might be creative to you might not be creative to another person.
Exactly, it's just like I was.
Because we have our own way of.
I watched when Gladiator first came out years ago. My very first time of sitting to watch it. It's different when you watch. There's what we call when you watch a film and when you read a film. Yeah. When you watch a film and when you read a film. I read film based on the shot. The shot tells you what is happening or what is about to happen.
Like predicting the next.
Okay, I watched Gladiator that year, and of course you know the story of Gladiator. I don't need to even run it through. And there was this particular scene where the army general who became a slave, who became a fighter, was taken to the arena. And when he came out, there was this shot that came on him when he came out from where he was locked. I just told my friend who were seated together, I said, this guy's gonna kill all of them. And when we were done with that scene, he looked at me, he said, how do you know? I said, well, you don't understand what I...
You were actually reading.
I was reading the film.
Not just watching.
Not just watching. So, not all... It's just like when you say, when some guys behind the camera call themselves cinematographer, I laugh. Have you seen a scenic camera before? The reason why you have been referred to as a cinematographer is because you know how to handle scenic camera.
Not because you can make movies. And
scenic camera, for you to use a scenic camera, you load the film in the dark. Not now that you are carrying... In fact, what we have now is video. What we shoot now is video. So, I often correct all these guys who go about it. But because cinematography carries a big name, cinematography is a big name, it is videography. We are in the era of...
Actually,
it is videography. We shoot video now. Because now, you want to tell me you are a cinematographer, fine. That means you are shooting scenic camera, fine. That means you are loading film in that camera. If I ask you now, you that calls yourself a cinematographer, what is a magazine? Sprocket teeth. Dark room. Then when you are done with the film, the processing of the film to be seen in the cinema takes a very long. The only lab, if it's still functioning, is owned by NFC, Nigerian Film Corporation, that we have in this country.
Can you walk us through the process of writing a screenplay from the idea stage to the final stage?
The process of doing a screenplay begins with a synopsis.
Okay.
When you caught the idea, like I mentioned earlier, that you do your research. Once your research is done, remember we are talking about creativity here. Okay. So a blend of arts, needed to be put into consideration in as much as we want to tell a story. Also take note that the story you are writing or whatever you want to do as regards the story you are doing has to do with having an effect on the populace, on the spectator that want to watch it. So it begins with the idea, then from the idea you run a synopsis.
Okay.
You run a synopsis, then after your synopsis, and take note that whatever you are writing a story, it must be in present tense, not in past tense. These are rules. Okay. Now after the synopsis must have been done, then from the synopsis you do what we call fleshing out, the stage 2, which is the treatment.
Okay.
Which is the treatment. Then after the treatment, then you now have what is called the master scene script.
Okay.
Now the synopsis comes like a comprehension, kind of like an essay. Then the next stage is the scene by scene description. No dialogue. That's the treatment. Then once we get to the master scene script, it must have a scene, location, and the period, if it is day, if it is night. Of course, those are the two types of period we have when it comes to scripting.
Okay.
It has to be day, it has to be night. Now, we also have what is referred to as directives. Though these days, scripts don't carry heavy directives. It's more like you are trying to direct the director. A professional director knows what to do.
When he gets
a script. So then the dialogue comes. That's the master scene script. So I've mentioned like 3 stages, right?
Yeah.
Now the 4th stage is what we call the shooting script.
Okay.
From the master scene script, the shooting script, which is something between the director and the director of photography.
Okay, that's the layman or the cinematographer now.
The director of photography is not the cinematographer here.
I'm looking at the word
we often confuse this whole thing together. The DOP controls the cinematographer.
Okay, so the cinematographer works under the DOP.
Yes.
So what is now the job of the DOP?
The job of the DOP is to give instruction
to the cinematographer.
Yes, now.
Okay, clear now.
Now, on every unit of shot, now we have the shooting script, which is a technical language. On every unit of shots, to details. If the first scene is starting with, let's say, an area shot, it has to be, you know.
Who does the writing of those technical? Is it still the script
director? Is the director?
The director will put that.
The script writer knows nothing about this.
Because I was wondering.
It's not the business of this. So
the script writer just come up with his own.
He drops his stuff on the table of the director. Everything stops on the table of the director.
Okay.
So that's why, though there has been this argument that the writer must always have input. No, I keep telling people, I've said it before on national TV, that the writer work stops at the time he's done with his writing. He has done his own. Now we are giving it to the master craftsman, who is the director.
They'll bring it to life.
They'll bring it to life. There are some things you will go through and will tell you that no, this can't work. So, now the last stage of scripting is what we call storyboard.
Okay.
Nobody does that here. You know, he's Herculean. In fact, the artistic impression of every unit of shots.
That's another area of specialty again.
Yes, of course. Where you have to draw. And that, you know, there are specialists in that.
Well, it's like it's not really useful.
People jump it, but I tell you, brother,
because you can get the idea from your head, and
even in Hollywood till date, they still do storyboarding.
Okay, that's at the professional level.
Yes. What is worth doing at all is worth doing well.
And doing professionally.
Yes.
It's all right.
So those are the stages. Now, let me add this to it. In writing, like I told the brother some time ago, you know, he was of the mind that you don't need to go learn drama to become a film director. And I smiled. I looked at him. I said, well, ignorance. Ignorance makes the monkey called baboon stupid. Unknown to that monkey that they are both baboon. They both belong to the classification of monkeys or apes, as one may call it. Now, you want to cook a soup. There are laid down principles. There are things you needed. In fact, to cook a soup, there must be either groundnut oil or palm oil, whichever one chooses to use. Mm-hmm. Now, some ingredients must go into it. There must be salt. There must be seasoning. You know, I don't want to mention the name of any particular. Yeah. So now, in doing a story, be conscious of the necessary ingredients.
I'm talking about the elements now.
Now, the necessary ingredients, like you start with plot,
okay,
which is the sequential unit. Plot is one of the elements of drama. That's why I keep telling some directors that if you don't know drama, forget it. You don't have business with directing. You don't have business being a screen author. You must know drama, because what you are going to deal with is harmonizing a story involving actors, characters. Now, there are two different things here: the actor, the character. It is for you to know the characters. Now you introduce the characters to the actors. So the director is the intermediary between the character and the actors. So the ingredients of plots are 9. There are 9. And anybody who wants to write story must know this 9. Of course, You can't tell me that you want to write a story. You are not putting into consideration what we call exposition, what we call reversal, what we call foreshadowing, what we call point of attack, what we call crisis, what we call climax, what we call, there are 3 C's in it, then the end of it all is denouement. Those who know what I'm talking about, by the time they hear this, they will keep saying that, yes, a professional is talking. And I keep telling people that, see, let us forget all this, we celebrate mediocrity so much in this world, in this
part of our
the most abused profession is this profession, film. The most abused profession, because every Tom, Dick and Harry will wake up one day and say he or she wants to go into acting, wants to do drama. Technological advancement now has turned everybody into a cinematographer by virtue of the fact that we all have handsets. We have cameras on
you
it.
can shoot and you see yourself.
And stuff like that. So that is just it.
All right. Quite an interesting conversation with Omoba Ademuyiwa. We want to look at filmmaking now. Filmmaking is the process of creating a film from the idea in a writer's mind to the final picture you watch on screen. It involves several key stages like pre-production, where the story is planned and organized, production, where the actual shooting takes place with the cameras, and also post-production. And also post-production, where editing, sound, and special effects bring everything together. Filmmaking is a teamwork effort. Writers, directors, cinematographers, actors, and editors all play a key role. For students, learning filmmaking means understanding not just how to hold a camera, but also how to tell a story visually and manage all the steps that make a movie. You said you don't like the word filmmaker. All right, is the word filmmaking still acceptable?
Okay. Still on that. Film. Let's say story making. Let's call it story making.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's call it story making. As an undergraduate, there is a lecturer of mine who is always like, whenever you do anything, maybe he's working with you practically, and you do some things. Ask you, why did you do that? Not that what you did was wrong, but he wants you to defend what you have done. And that's the way it's supposed to be. As being a student of the arts, he used to say this: art is not static, but dynamic.
That's true.
Now, this is it. Filmmaking, like I said, film is a material. What we are dealing with is drama. So anybody who doesn't know anything about drama should forget about getting into. So it's storytelling. You want to tell a story.
Yeah.
So for me, it should be referred to as story making.
Okay.
You ask some students, some green-ons, what is filmmaking? They will tell you make believe. They'll tell you make believe. So if film is make believe, then how will you now define acting? So a whole lot of malapropism.
Okay.
In the profession. So that's why I like a country like United States of America for one reason. You can't get to United States of America today and just jump on one profession that you want to start doing it. No. You will have to learn the rudiments, the basics of that profession before you do it.
Okay, but for somebody that wants to pursue a career in filmmaking, what would be the path you will advise the person to take?
First, go through a solid university to learn it.
And we don't have time again because we are already old.
Of course, if you are already old and you don't have time again, you can take it up in any of the private polytechnics or some institutes around who run 2 years diploma programs in it, or not just anyhow roadside institutes anyway, the ones that is highly recommended, that they actually teach the real thing. Like I often tell my students, if you desire a profound training in film making, so to say, go to National Film Institute, Jos.
Okay, look, if you now, it's okay, I want to make film, but I'm not ready to go into all this training thing because there's no time, but I want to make film. Can someone can hire somebody to write a script, somebody to produce, somebody to direct, hire the cinematographer, hire the actors and everything. You just stay behind, watch them do their thing, then at the end of the day you collect your thing, so you qualify as a filmmaker.
Well, in that regard, two things are involved. You are coming in as a financier. So being a financier, you have a place, and you have a place you occupy, which is being the executive producer. It's either you are the executive producer or the producer.
Okay.
Those are the two types of business personnel we have in filmmaking.
Okay, let's this one has opened another issue for discussion now. Okay. Let's look at the business of filmmaking. How lucrative is filmmaking in our current Nigeria context? Because if you go to YouTube, the reason why I ask this question, go to YouTube, like almost every other day, new films are being released. You understand? New films are being released. And you're going to wonder, is it that lucrative that everybody is getting into film production? There's so much money in it that you can make an investment and get your money back in no time.
To start with, every business has its own market.
Sure.
And where many of our producers get it wrong, a lot of producers only think about doing the thing. They hardly think about the market. They hardly think about it. Why are you into a business if not for commercial purpose? Like I could remember as an undergraduate, whenever we are done with our rehearsals and stuff like that, the final thing we do is to embark on publicity. Market your product. Now, I could recall a book I once read, written by one of the prominent filmmakers in Hollywood, Richard L. Baer. In that book, he indicated that for you to embark on a project, you think of the market first.
Definitely.
Okay, if I want to get into making of pure water, at least I must think of the market I want to supply.
Who is the person that you are going to supply to?
Good. Now, before the emergence of YouTube and all this online marketing platform, Nigerians were accessing watching movies via going to shop to some to go rent or purchase and stuff like that, and that's how the area market evolved. The nature, the Iweka, Upper Iweka and stuff like that came up. They were only that. Even at that, we had an issue of underproduction, because in a country of 200 million, you can imagine a producer would churn out copies of about 100,000. Can that circulate? Then you have created room for piracy, because pirates will cover the remaining gap. Now, with the emergence of all these digital platforms, because of course your product needed to be patronized, and you must create a room for it. Publicity, especially. I once read about the making of Titanic years ago. 500 million was spent on that film. $500 million was spent on that film, and an amount of $16 million was spent on publicity. Ask yourself, how many of our producers spend money on publicity of their movie? We are not really taking it as a business. We just want to churn out films. Okay.
Maybe just born out of a passion.
Yes.
I have the passion for it, so I am doing it.
So if I'm getting into this state, is a huge, okay. In Hollywood, we have a state, accredited to film production, and that's California. That's where you see all the stars. And in that same California, there are more than 1,001 film studios. It's a real business. And each of these studios, they have every department, especially the marketing department. So when you talk about post-production, people think it's only when you edit a film is when you say it's post-production. Post-production is endless. Your marketing is part of post-production. I was very young when I watched Sound of Music. Till date, Sound of Music still sells.
Very, very.
And imagine, that film was shot in the 30s, 1930s. The film still sells till date. Many of our films, after some period of time, you don't find them again.
They're not evergreen.
But thank God to the online marketing platform and stuff like that. But even there are some producers who are greedy, who tell whosoever owns the platform, please, bring down my film on your platform.
Okay.
So these are issues that has to do with the producer. If I am a maker of a story, I must be concerned with the market at first. Once I define and I know where my product is going, I'm good to go. Because whosoever is financing will look at you and ask you that question. How long will it take for me to recoup back my investment? And what is the assurance?
Acting is the craft of bringing characters to life. It is more than just memorizing lines. It's about expressing emotions, using body language, voice, and movement to make a story believable. Good acting requires understanding the character's background, feelings, and motivations when communicating all that to the audience in a natural way. There are different styles of acting, from stage performance to film acting, each with its own techniques. For students, learning acting builds confidence, creativity, and communication skills. In simple terms, acting is the bridge that connects a script to the heart of the audience. Acting. Do you think acting is still as lucrative as it used to be in those days when, the analog days, when before you watch a film, you have to go and buy the film? And like now that we are in the digital age, everybody's online, you can just see anybody acting in a film. Is it still a lucrative profession like it used to be, or is it even much more lucrative now than it used to be?
Acting is everly lucrative. In fact, extremely lucrative now than it used to be those days.
Okay.
To start with, I'll start from this. Imagine, just check the records. Check the records. Imagine somebody like Macaroni, Mr. Macaroni, and it's like Shaggy. Now, they have their own thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Skit and all those whatnots. Now, if any producer, in fact, what most producers do now to earn a patronage of their product is considering the numbers of followership a particular actor has. Because they know, of course, if they bring in this actor into this project, that alone
We sell their film.
they're sure of smiling to the bank. So acting is highly lucrative. I could remember there is a project recently that one of the skit makers was paid 20 million naira. There is a particular actor, a very popular one at that, and old us, but still very strong. His face is strong. Charges 25 million naira on the movie project. So to tell you is lucrative, and it has to do with your finesse at what you do. Like I often tell people, it is not about the actor. It is about the story in the hands of a good director that makes the actor.
Let's take that again.
It is not about
The actor.
the actor. That is the popular faces that we know, the known faces. Like in our own context now, most people believe that if they don't see a particular face, that film is not going to be interesting.
Yeah, understand that.
That is not the standard of this work. And of course, even with that, there's been a cartel in our industry based on that. Even some of this online, what's it called, online platform, where some of our producers take their films to are now dictating if this face is not there, you can't do blah 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 shit. But I keep telling them that no, a good story, well interpreted by a director, makes the actor. No one knew Leonardo DiCaprio many years ago, not until when Titanic came up. After Titanic, it was history. Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to perform with Madonna or Titanic. I think Madonna dropped that script for Evita, a film titled Evita. So, acting is lucrative, and for one to actually be a professional at that, you must go through a very robust training, and you have an understanding. Many of our actors in Nigeria are not detailed actors. We only have few of them, and some of them don't even know. Like there's this rave now in the industry, you know, that I keep wondering. That every actor wants to carry beards on their face. The bearded gang actors. Is it what the script is saying? And you know, when you were reading the introduction about acting, you mentioned something about body, voice. And those are the two greatest tools of an actor, the body and his voice. So if the body is a vital tool of an actor, that means the body in entirety. So it is not by what you, the actor, wants. It's by what the director envisions.
Okay.
If I'm going to bring somebody like maybe one of the actors with beards, and the character, the interpretation of that character says, you know, this character must be without beards. And lo and behold, an actor with heavy beards now steps in. In this part of the world, you see actors quarreling with the director. Why must he tell me to take off my beards? What has my beards got to do with the character? And you call yourself an actor? Any actor that does that with me, you are out. And I don't take you as a professional actor. Of course, we have a whole lot of strayed, so-called actors who strayed into the business of acting.
Sure.
Who are not professional in the real sense.
Yeah.
But if you are a professional actor, your body is your first tool. Then the next one is your voice. Your in acting, when we did directing in the university as an undergraduate, there's a topic we call tonal variation. Not every actor knows how to use the ups and down of their voice. So these are things that we really need to look at. That's when you look at people like Baba Olu Jacobs, when you look at someone like Auntie Joker Silva, when you look at people like RFD, and so on and so forth. Like, look at Pet Edochie, Uncle Pet Edochie. Look at how they, handle their roles, renditions, facial expression, and all those whatnot. That which make them stand out.
Okay, between the actor and the director, who actually determines how good a film will turn out? Like, can a good actor make a good film with a bad director? Can a good director, for example, now make a good film with a bad actor? The director, does he really play? Because most times when a film turns out well, the glory goes to the actor. We don't really say much about the director. Most times we don't even know who are the directors. We only know the actors. they are the ones that take the glory. You know, look at this film that brought this lady, Ashalugo, became a slang now. You understand? Everybody's talking about the lady, you understand? But nobody's talking about the person that directed that film.
Well, a layman will always celebrate the actor.
Okay.
Yes,
for the audience are laymen.
For us who are the professional, we know who is responsible for whatsoever that comes on the screen.
Yeah.
Before I went for my training, you know, I didn't know that whatever name you see at the very beginning, like for example, a dash 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 film, unknown to me, that's a signature, which simply means that when you see that name, a dash 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 film, that's the director. That's the person to be held responsible for any creative error. So now there's a process we call rehearsal, which comes before the shoot is done. And that process, like I mentioned earlier, the director introduces the character to the actor. Now, the actor becomes the masquerader. The character is the masquerade. So the actor wears the character. Let me use another analogy. I will use this other analogy now. The character is dead in the script. The script is the grave of the character. So the actor is to bring the character alive. Now the director takes his time to now tell the actor the details of the character. And that is what the director wants to see. Now take note that on the set while the shoot is going on, there's only one audience. And that is the director. He's referred to as the super audience. He is the one that determines how he wants his audience to feel at every unit of action. So everything you see in film, in drama, in any story on screen is the effort of the director. Not just the director alone, but a collective effort of the director and his crew. Even for his crew, he immersed them into his own vision as regards the story. This is what I want here. This is how I want this. This is this, this is this. Now, the crew members key into his vision and they bring it alive. That is the hoot about
okay, but that's kind of clear. Let's look at the Actors Guild of Nigeria. You happen to be the chairman. Tell us a little bit about what the Actors Guild of Nigeria is all about, and how can someone become a member and all those stuffs. Then your role now as the chairman of the Actors Guild of Nigeria.
Well, Actors Guild of Nigeria is a regulatory body, and it protects the right of every registered or card-carrying member. There are cases of actors getting involved in production, and at the end of the day, they don't get paid and stuff like that. I've been involved in some cases like that. That some persons will run to me, and I was used and I was not paid. And the first question I always ask: are you a member of Actors Guild of Nigeria? Because being a member of Actors Guild of Nigeria, you have to pay your monthly dues.
Okay.
You must have your ID card. Then you must have paid your registration fee. Then onto this, be rest assured that in any part of Nigeria that anybody uses you and you are not being paid, just know, just give us the name of the production, name of the producer, name of the director. That's all. That's all. And it will shock the producer that whatever story or whatever project he must have embarked upon will not see the light of the day, not until when it does the needful. So, Actors Guild of Nigeria is an affiliate of Federation of International Actors. So
Okay.
for anybody who is a member, be rest assured that in any part of the world you can flourish, you can be protected.
Okay, what qualifies one to be a member? For somebody like me that I'm not in the acting profession, can I just go to your office, register? That makes me automatically your member.
Yes, your registration first, like I said.
Even if I'm not an actor.
If you are not an actor and you desire to, Actors Guild of Nigeria runs what we call training. Like any moment from now, we have a pact with the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Oyo State.
Okay.
Recently, the Southwest Vice President, the person of Asiwaju Bukola Fagui, paid a visit to Oyo State recently and met with the Honorable Commissioner. And a whole lot is about to happen. Like we're looking at running a free training for youths, especially in Oyo State. And it will shock you that very soon you start seeing those faces you've been seeing on screen in Oyo State, because some people made Hollywood what it is. And here in Nigeria, the thing about acting, was tagged to Enugu. From Enugu, currently now it is Asaba.
Yeah, Asaba, that's taking over.
Okay, fine. Now, some people made it so. Now, if we go into the story or the history of drama, we will know that Ibadan played a major role. Bulk of all these things started here in Ibadan. Somebody once told me that, why is it that we don't have English language film production in Ibadan? And I smiled. No, that Ibadan is known for Yoruba stuff.
Yes, not even all the okay, Ibadan, let me see.
And I smiled. I say, a place where we have the premier university. Not that most of those actors you see that are in the Yoruba film, dialect stuff, they are educated.
Yes.
So now we are now trying to tell people, like, sorry to say this, those films you see coming from Asaba and all those whatnot, it is projecting a particular tribe and culture using English.
Yes.
So somehow I won't blame them, because film has to do with culture. Film reflects culture.
Definitely.
Now, when you look at the Indians, they will never make the mistake of being Eurocentric in their presentation. They promote their culture through their film. They wear their sari, the men wear their Punjab, and all those whatnot. But it worries me when I see most of our films want to dress like the Europeans. We are promoting their attires and stuffs like that. When you watch most Indian films, you see that thing, that's their culture. Especially when it comes to marriage, the process of marriage, they exhibit it in their film. Why can't we do the same? Now again, when you look at their own film too, they are cautious about the aspect of sex. They are cautious about it because they want a kind of perfect society. But in this part of the world, like I often have issues with my colleagues who are producers, must you be explicit about sex scenes in your film? There are codes we need to observe.
Some of them just want to use it to sell.
And they feel profanity is everywhere now, even on social media. It's not supposed to be so. And that is why we have a whole lot of irregularities in our society. Now, a filmmaker ought to be a social reformist and not a social deformist. Why we are where we are now in this part of the world with all of these issues happening in our society is because we have lost it. When America was attacked, Bush called all film producers that they should embark on films that will lift the spirit of America.
Okay, more or less the government is involved.
Because America was down that time. They were affected. It was a shock, a rude shock to a country that believed they are superpowers. Now, to tell you that the role of film is so vital, because seeing is believing. Now, how many parents is controlling what their children watch these days? How many parents? No, they are not bothered about it. I can remember when we were a lot younger, you dare not walk into the sitting room when my father is watching, mature film. You'll be sent into the bedroom. We were watching cartoons. Those were the films meant for us. Sound of Music and the likes like that. So it's AGN does a lot for people. Like in reaching out to us, we were with the Cultural Center. That's where you can get us. Of course, I don't know if you wouldn't mind, I can easily drop our contact.
I'll drop that at the description of the video.
Okay, all right.
All right. But what are the benefits if I become a member? For somebody watching this and is saying, okay, what do I stand to benefit by becoming a member of AGN?
There's a lot to benefit. To start with, training. You'll be subjected to training.
Okay.
Then after the training, and be rest assured that if any project comes around, you'll be the first to be called upon.
Okay. So you also help your members to source for job for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Source for job, we drop audition notice.
Okay.
Those are the things we do, and we also encourage members to start their own thing, giving them support to start their own thing if they so wish. Like currently now, with my presence in the state, I've been in talks with the Guild of Directors. I've been in talks with the Guild of Producers to have their offices also here in
Ibadan.
In Oyo State, Ibadan to be precise. So a whole lot is about to happen, a huge turnaround, so that people will not only look at Ibadan as a place where you get to see the Yoruba film, Yoruba thing. No. In fact, anytime I go to Lagos, they will say, your Amala settlements. That I told them very soon, when you come down to Ibadan, you'll be eating spaghetti and shawarma.
And that is not part of our culture.
It's not part of our culture. Yes, the Amala is part of our culture, but in that balance, what we are saying is that to them, the Amala thing is Yoruba thing. So go to your Ibadan where you do your Yoruba thing, and making it look as if there are no educated people. When you look at all this so-called English film from Nigeria, it celebrates the red cap, and we all know where the red cap is from.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Let us begin to do our own film using the Abeti Aja, but using English as a dialect to communicate.
But one thing too, because of time, one thing I want to say, the using of Yoruba language for acting or for film production, it goes a long way to promote the culture. But just that the masses or people out there, they are not saying it like that. Because if you use Yoruba to produce a film, well, there's the language, the language that is being spoken. You are kind of helping to retain it.
It's the perseverance of preserving our culture.
Preserving the culture.
Yeah, I have no issues about that. But with English, it gives you a wider coverage.
Yes, you don't need to be waiting for transcription.
A wider coverage. Like when Mel Gibson did Passion of Christ, the language used in Passion of Christ, is the Hebrew language, the Aramaic language. Let me say that, because at that age, based on Mel Gibson's research, the Aramaic language was used. So I have no issues with the usage of language.
Okay.
But to have a wider coverage, let us begin to use English
for film production
to promote our culture the more.
All right. Thank you very much, Omoba Ademuyiwa Oyebanji. Really appreciate your coming.
So
when you are talking to an intellectual, you will just thank you for sharing a lot of insights and information on the issue of fame, the screen authoring, and the cinematography. We quite appreciate your coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, you've been listening to the PICMAC Conversation, where we spotlight the voices and visions shaping media, arts, and communication. Of course, we hope today's story has inspired you to chase your own dream, put your boundaries, and aim for the pinnacle. Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on YouTube at PICMAC Official. Visit us online at www.picmac.com.ng. And to join the conversation, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, send a message or a WhatsApp message to 0810-180-9463. Join us again next week for another inspiring conversation. But until then, keep creating, keep learning, and keep climbing to the top. My name is Cyril AC. Thank you for joining us.